Shoguanas, look at this. Tonight we didn't just turn on Christmas lights, we switched on the whole vibe of the season. From Busy Corner straight down the main road, every light is a reminder that our community stays shining, no matter what the year threw at us. This is unity, this is love, this is Shoguana's energy. So as the lights glow, let the stress go. Feel the Christmas spirit, feel the togetherness. And remember, when Shoguana's lights up, the whole country feels it. Merry Christmas.
Follow DJ Anna's moves. You're welcome, la puttana.
Jam the music, Christmas music. Jam the music, taste the sweetness. Talk up around on my mind, the sweetest music at Christmas time. I want to wine and jump, ladies talk up around.
Trinidad and Tobago, while the PNM and their stooges and Guardian media trying to direct this narrative about the country, they are not talking about the things that are important to the ground. They are not talking about the things that are important to the ordinary citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me tell you what's going on. They make a big hullabaloo about CPEP workers being sent home. They're not talking about the brilliant initiative by MP Khadija Amin, the Open Spaces Cleanup Program. Very different from CPEP. And let me tell you how it works. You have in every corporation, 14 corporations, you have teams of 13 workers. Now I saw those workers. Listen up carefully. I saw those workers today working between Caroni and Chaguanas. Nobody sitting down. Nobody taking a break. Everybody working. I'll tell you why. You know what these Open Spaces program workers making? CPEP workers used to get paid $120. They are being paid $240 because Kamla Prasad Bisesa told you, the Prime Minister told you, we're bringing it back better than before. There's not CPEP. Let me further explain. So you have 13 workers in each corporation. Some corporation might have 2 teams of 13 workers. PNM and UNC corporations are being treated alike. There's no geographic discrimination here. So all PNM corporations have given their names to the Minister of Local and Rural Government to have their workers employed in this Open Spaces program. All of them. So all 14 corporations, PNM and UNC, the same. These workers, hear the way it's structured here. This is not no Eater Food, PNM, CPEP contractors. There are no contractors here. There's a coordinator getting paid about $300 a day. There's a foreman or 4-person, man or woman, getting paid $250 something a day, $280 a day. That is the 4-person and the checker. Every crew, every team has a 4-person and a checker. No contractor. Compare that to what was happening under the PNM with the CPEP contractors. Hundreds of thousands of dollars being wasted. You go and you see a crew of 20, 2 people working, 18 people saying no, doing nothing. Here everybody working. Everybody getting paid equitably. A open space program worker making $240 a day. The top man, the coordinator of the program, making $300 a day or $340. Look at the equity there. In other words, it's not only the people in administration who making money, the worker making money as well. That is the difference between the UNC program, Open Space program, and the PNM CPEP program. It will cost the government close to about $800,000 for a 13-week period. If the program proves to be successful, people pull their weight, making money, there will be continuous work. They will be converted from temporary workers into permanent workers. In other words, once that happens, you have these people who will have a solid financial future. They could start planning for them and their children, unlike CPEP. So, congratulations to the Prime Minister. Congratulations to the Minister of Local and Rural Government. Local Government, MP Khadija Amin. A brilliant initiative. Less money, less burden on taxpayers' money, more efficient use of workers with a better program. Because if this program proves to be successful, we're going to expand those teams that are working in corporation, and people will have more work, people will have more opportunities, and there will be more jobs, and there will be a hell of a lot more employment than what happened on the CPEP. Nobody can come and eat a food in this, like what happened under the PNM. Congratulations again to the Prime Minister and to MP Khadija Amin. Excellent work. Trinidad and Tobago, while you have all your studying what America doing with Venezuela, we have things going on the ground here. UNC doing the work. That is what you call fixing it. And that is what you call UNC working for you. I like to keep you informed on the ground because that is where it matters. Trinidad and Tobago, love in the house all the time.
Good day, Trinidad and Tobago. I took notice of a post by Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, Mr. Stuart Young, where he posted photographs of myself and MP Shavana Sam eating doubles, describing it as having lavish and vulgar parties. I want to tell the member that the doubles that I was eating, I paid for it out of my own pocket for all 200 employees at the Ministry of Public Utilities. If I wanted to eat 5 or I wanted to eat 10 doubles, I paid for it with our taxpayers' money, and therefore I think I'm entitled to. The Honourable Member has a penchant for being abrasive and disgusting towards public servants. All we sought to do was utilize the resources that we already have in ministries and state enterprises, and therefore no money was paid to any artist to perform at the Office of the Prime Minister or the Ministry of Public Utilities at their event. Instead, what we sought to do was to ask them, seeing that they were already brand ambassadors for TSCT, and they graciously agreed. And I want you to know that I'm very, very grateful, artists, for those free performances. But I'm also apologizing on the behalf of the member for Port of Spain North for bringing you into disrepute in this most disgusting and vile way. Because these artists were not hired at TSCT as brand ambassadors by myself. They were hired under People's National Movement Administration, and they have been there for a number of years. All we simply asked was whether or not they would perform for us without cost, and they agreed to graciously do so. I thank them once more, and I apologize to them on behalf of the member for Port of Spain North, Mr. Stuart Young, for this blatant attack that goes unwarranted. For several of these events that we have had during the season, ministers of government have dipped into their own pocket. I don't know what the problem is that this former administration has with bacon, shark and doubles and pilau, but those are the things that we served at some of our events. And therefore, today, I really call on Stuart Young to apologize without having the facts, without having the knowledge, without having the know-it-all. But this continued, sustained attacks on public servants in particular is nothing new. The member describes these events as vulgar and lavish. I just want to say to the honourable member and to the former administration, vulgar and lavish is when family members get millions of dollars in state contracts. Vulgar and lavish is when you and your family have blue lights and security 24/7 while Trinbagonians have to fight up out there against the criminal elements which we are now dealing with. So, member for Port of Spain North and all of Trinidad and Tobago, you drove me to put together this video to clarify issues that you have now put in the public domain. But you have done so with an attempt to scandalize and politicize public servants and innocent persons. Next time, simply ask a question or keep your mouth shut. Thank you.
Trinidad and Tobago first. Our partnership with the United States is about Trinidad and Tobago, safety and security here. Those are issues for the Trump administration and for the United States. Trinidad and Tobago is no part of that blockade. We are about Trinidad and Tobago. And we are very happy with how things are progressing with the partnership with the US and with the state of emergency. Murders are down by 240. There are 240 less murders this year than last year. Let's not forget that. Over, $200 million in drugs busted only recently. So we're very happy about it. In drugs busted constantly. So we're very happy about us in drugs busted. Trinidad and Tobago first. Our partnership with the United States is about Trinidad and Tobago.
I ain't take much of them, you know. I took out about 160 something preventative detention orders. We caught about 80 or 90 thus far. And you have almost a 50% drop in crime. So you mean to tell me 150 people, 90 of them who we have, and the rest of them in hiding, have 1.3, 1.4 million people living in fear? Which rich, right-thinking citizen would want to advocate on behalf of the criminal element? Who? When we are all have been victims of crime in one way or the other.
Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you back to Here is the Code program on UNC USA. I have with me here Mr. Suman Singh, our lead technical analysis, Mr. Ken Dalchan, our civil engineer, and I saw Dr. Maraj there. Dr. Maraj is coming in here now. Welcome, Dr. Maraj, out of New York, our finance professor.
Hello, how are you?
And
Good, Doc.
gentlemen, Doc, I don't know if he was privileged to see this, but I'm going to play back this video so you can listen to it.
I ain't take much of them, you know. I took out about 160 something preventative detention orders. We caught about 80 or 90 thus far. And you have almost a 50% drop in crime. So you mean to tell me 150 people, 90 of them who we have, and the rest of them in hiding, have 1.3, 1.4 million people living in fear? Which rich, right-thinking citizen would want to advocate on behalf of the criminal element? Who? When we are all have been victims of crime in one way or the other.
So you hear that, gentlemen? Which right-thinking citizen, right? It falls into place, right, gentlemen? Where we seen the PNM. It falls into place. Right, what we saw what the PNM was doing. I mean, blatantly and boldfacedly, attacking the government attempts. So the commissioner is asking that question. And Suman, do you want to go first on this?
Well, I just want to know if he's asking. I just wanted to know. Go ahead. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say, that's the question I should be asking him. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, gentlemen. Yeah, Doc, gather your thoughts.
Have some heavy noise in the background here.
Are you still getting noise?
Noise going in the background here. So I'll come on in about a minute.
Oh, okay. So Dr. Maraj, go ahead then.
Oh no, I just figured the question is an interesting one, but I thought I should be asking him.
All right, there's a mic.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I should be asking him. Why are the people being held to ransom by that little group of rascals? What can he do to help allay that fear? The fear is founded. The fear is not groundless. The fear is real. I mean, when I go to Port of Spain, I look in behind my shoulder. I always looking to see who's walking behind me, and I always my back against the wall. I don't ever let anybody pass in the back of me. My back against the wall. So because I know what I'm dealing with. So he should be that question. He has a very interesting question. But that's one.
You a little bit ahead of me. You and Suman and these guys. You're a little bit ahead of me in age, and we're not capable like when we was younger. I mean, when I was younger, I could fight with a dozen man one time, right? But going now forward here at our age with these young athletic young people. I mean, it is something that is very concerning,
No, man, Gary, come on, man. You're a smart guy. because so many different new methods how to do these things around. Age is not a criteria in these things.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
You know,
we don't have the physical capability like when we was younger and we were
that's right.
mentally in shape
Well,
and we was totally fearless and ready for anybody and anything.
right, correct.
And our reflexes were better. Now these people have the advantage. They're younger and they're more equipped than us because the government has enabled them to have the right. Now they're vexed that Mrs.
You
Bisesa
know,
government has just passed
you-
the home invasion bill, right? And granted citizens
yes.
the right to defend themselves, right? Two parts
And
of
they are not just
legislation,
that.
you guys, go ahead.
Yeah, the PNM is annoyed at that. In fact, he voted against it, saying that we are discriminating against their constituents, according to one of them, the PNM representative
This
for
young man was
Portsmouth
recently
South.
killed. This young man was recently killed, right? This young man lost his life recently.
Yeah. Yes. So you see, they did not support the bill, the home invasion bill, thinking that is, again, is to try to pull the race plug as they do in several occasions, try to work up public sentiments and try to show that, oh, we are against black people. The same thing they did with CPEP. Oh, the UNC is against black people. So they all have always done this notion of trying to push race.
Suman, I lost your mic. I lost your mic. Check your mic. Suman, check your mic.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. They try to pull this race plug all the time, to try to divide the population, blacks and Indians, or, one is being suppressed and the one has all the opportunities, and they try to portray this racial thing, whether it's in URP, CPEP, or the home invasion. It's not discriminating against anyone. We're talking about public safety and security of all citizens, you know. But I couldn't understand for the hell of me how come a responsible opposition, as what they call themselves, voted against the home invasion bill. Was it like someone or some ethnic class or something like that? What is the reason? And they pulled the same thing as I said, well, when they sort of shut down the CPEP and URP and all these the reforestation projects. They say, "Oh, this is discrimination against poor black people." They always tried and do this. So we have clear evidence now to show that, hey, this home invasion, common law is no longer in effect. You have the right to protect yourself. So I think
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
excellent legislation, and they have some fine tuning to do, but that will come over in time. There are issues, again, training and more training and more training as you go along will help alleviate whatever, long-term issues there are. So I see that is extremely positive for, I think just about everybody is happy, I think, except a minority who still thinks that, it's we against them, that mentality. So there's a second piece of legislation, which is the Summary Offences Act, which addresses the sole aspect of noise pollution, and that includes things like fireworks. Again, no regard was held for the elderly and the different disabled and children. And equally important, it's not mentioned here, but animals, dogs and other pets and so on, they have a horrible time with fireworks and noise. You know how dogs and behave when they hear noise, these firecrackers, and they go and hide in the bed, under the bed, let someone else run away from home and so on. This thing has been going on far too long. So these two bills, the Home Invasion Bill and the Summaries Act, I think that's going to go. Those I consider is legislation.
Absolutely essential legislation. You know, I mean, you have
Essential,
your right.
correct.
You have your right to have your fun, and I have the right to have a peace of mind and to live in a peaceful environment while you still have your right to enjoy yourself. So play your music, but play it within reason.
Simple like that. Everyone wants to have a good time. The third thing that you mentioned was shown in one of the videos is the police commissioner. He identified, 150, 160 persons, and he have captured 90 of them. So there's another 50, 60 who is still in hiding. And I think this is just my personal opinion, is to put away these 90 for a long while. For a long while. We can't have 150 people terrorizing the world. He's quite right. But he needs to tell me what he's doing now in the meantime to not only let go these people after 3 years or 2 years and they're going back to do the same nonsense again. He needs to come and tell to the public, this is what we're going to do with the 90 we have captured, and when we catch the other 60, this is what we're going to do. So the public, that will reinforce. That will reinforce, public sentiment that yes, this guy is doing a good job. This is what we want from him. This is what, as a comment, you have taken the bull by the horns and you are solving one big problem. And I say solving because he has a number of things to do yet, And once he can lay that out to the public, and you'll see a drastic, maybe more than 50, 60% fall in the crime rate. But he needs a level of the population. This is what he plans. Yes.
So somebody make a good point, right? You made a good point there. We captured 90 persons, but are these hardened criminals? Are these just purse snatchers? Who are these people? And what are they? What's their location, right? Are they scattered all over Trinidad or just concentrated in one particular area, right? And yeah, exactly. You made a good point. What are you going to do with these persons? Are you going to put an ankle bracelet, let them back out again, right? Because I could be walking around an ankle bracelet.
Gentlemen, in all fairness, right? It is up to the justice system to deal with that now. The commissioner has done his job by capturing and identifying these gentlemen.
Right.
So this is where we need the justice system
But Gary, you're making a good point here, because I want to reference something
to spell out the details of how we deal with them.
Right, but here's something, Gary, and that's where the justice system fails, because there was a home invasion where a woman was raped, and the guy got 3 years, and he's out. He probably is out, right? 3 years for something, for a violent crime. So it is a joke.
We having that here in the U.S. and in Trinidad and around the world, same thing. So, but I think being that we re-established the Ministry of Justice, and there is going to be some legislation going forward on how we deal with these issues. So definitely we have to follow these issues, and we definitely have to follow that.
But there's an old saying, prevention is better than cure, right? And here's the thing. What we need to do, and we've been saying over and over here, is we need to now fix that FUL process, right? That application process where we need to arm the citizens, the law-abiding citizens. If that woman who was raped had a firearm, right, in her possession, and she's well trained, you think that outcome would be the same, right? We wouldn't even be reading about the man got 3 years for rape. We'd be reading a story. A home intruder was stopped by an FUL user, right? So we need to get the FULs in the hands of law-abiding citizens so that they can protect themselves. That will complement the stand your ground law. Yes, you can stand your ground, but again, I can't take a knife to a gunfight, right? So
Well,
we
unless you Steven Seagal or one of them guys. But anyway, the thing about it here now is when we get this FUL thing really established, the message will be sent where they will have to reconsider those decision making because we'll be organized.
That's correct. Well, you'll have all the components coming together,
but,
right?
Yes. And
So
Gary, if I may interject here, the reason why I brought up this that let's say 90 persons have been held. Do we have the data? We need to have the data on each specific person. Where they're from, which location they're from, what is the age bracket, the gender, and all these sort of things. And now, what are the type of crimes each one has committed.
That's correct.
Unless we have that data, we cannot see a trend. We cannot see a prediction. We cannot forecast. We cannot do none of these things. You know, if most of it is for weed, okay, so you can say, okay, weed is the number one problem. Okay, but if you don't know and just say a number 90 persons have been held, and we don't know the data of these 90 people. So what corrective measure can we take? Are we going to put ankle bracelets? Are we going to take some DNA samples from them? Are they going to be fingerprinted? Are they going to be entered into a database of, you know, criminals or gang members or what have you? All these things, I would like, this is what I want the commissioner to tell me. Not saying
I
90
you,
people is just one aspect of it.
And I agree with you.
90 people is...
That's where he fell short there, right? He need to elaborate a little more.
Yeah.
And give us some hardcore data. Don't just come and say round numbers, 160 and 90. Those are round numbers. Why couldn't it be 163 and 91, right? You see those round numbers? I don't like those round numbers at all.
Right.
You know, and he failed to dig deeper and give us some data. Are these hardened criminals or are these just petty criminals? Guys picking up thieves, stealing the neighbor's mango, all this other stuff here, right? You know, right now the country is plagued with hardened criminals.
Well, you know, gentlemen, the little guys who you consider mango thief walking around with the AR-15, you know.
Okay? Well, yeah.
Okay, so let's take that into consideration.
But you know, Suman made a good point. Give us some more data, right?
You're right.
Are these rapists living in our community, right? Or do they need to be registered in a sex offenders list?
Ken, check your mic.
I get to know. Hold on.
Yeah, a little feedback there.
Somebody hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing.
I'm hearing echo from you now.
Gary, I think it may be on your end, you know.
No, it's not on my end. I just refreshed.
Yeah, we hear an echo here.
Okay, so mute your mic. Mute your mic if you're not speaking. Yeah, mute your mic if you're not speaking. And just put it on when you're speaking. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ken. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you see stuff now. Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, so you know, we need more data, and this is where we tend to fall short on the data, right? You know, yes, you have 160 persons at large, right? Are these hardened criminals, right? What are their location? Where are they concentrated? Are they in Central? Are they hiding in the East? Could you post pictures of them? If you have information and warrants to pick them up, you need to alert these citizens so we could be on the lookout, or you know, for these people. Maybe they're walking around our communities, right? You mentioned that there's about 50 or 60 of them still walking around there.
Yes, Ken.
In
And you
in the
fast
system,
track that with the justice system in play.
correct,
You
correct.
know, so
But the
these
ones
persons are, yeah,
the ones at
these
large,
persons
the
that
ones still
tried,
hiding, right? We need to know so that we are aware of the threat. Don't just say, well, you know, we're 60% still on the run, on the loose. Have a website where we have the pictures of these people so we can help law enforcement and maybe identify some of them and say, hey, let's make a call here. We saw a guy living, you know, he just moved in next door, right? Or we saw someone, you know, in the community that fit the description, you know. So we could also play our part to defend ourselves by helping the law, the TTPS, by trying to identify the threat that's out at large there, you know. So, but I give the commissioner a C for falling short of giving us more data. Don't just come and give us a general statement here with round numbers.
correct. I will tend to agree with that. It's a good start. He has just started. Okay, I give him some credit for that, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
needs
but
to
he
go
no, he's made a good
definitely
point. He's
further.
made a good
That's
point.
one.
He made a good
Yes.
point. Now,
Yes.
the thing about it is, these are mostly young people that I think that we're dealing with. We have some older criminals in the country who's running the show, and we have. I would not ignore the fact that we have police officers within the police that is working alongside some of these criminals.
One of
And
them.
we have police officers that
One
just
of
can
them was
allow the things to happen and then do anything about it, right?
correct. Correct.
So
Yeah.
so he has some work to do on his end with his team, which we need. Before this 5 years finish, we must see a drastic changeover in the police administration, in the accountability, supervision, and management. This is not a one-man show. He has to align himself with a team of people, with the assistance of the government. You have to speak up what he needs, and let's get him what he needs, so
Yes.
we can get this job done the right way, get the country set in the right way. But you know, I do appreciate him making that point, so I wouldn't knock him too much.
Gary made a good point there.
Yes, I agree,
The corrupt
Gary.
officers.
And he needs to do more, but
Yeah.
it's a good start. It's a good
But
start, but you know,
Yeah,
this
well, what I'm
it
saying,
would be
we
nice.
we
It
can
would be nice if
can't go to war
these,
half cock, okay?
yeah,
And we
yes,
Trinidadians are more
correct,
fighters than we are more
absolutely.
fighters than
And you
fighters.
see,
We
Yeah.
are more fighters than fighters. We don't know war.
you
All right.
know,
That's why we bring in.
this
That's
thing
why
has
we
to
had to
be
bring in the war
coordinated. That's
specialists.
why interministerial coordination has to.
so man, you know, one of
Yeah.
the biggest tasks the commissioner would have on his hands is trying to weed out the corrupt officers within the system. That is going to be one of the most
Well,
difficult things to do,
yeah.
right?
So that is why interministerial coordination is yeah,
So what I lost
yeah.
you there. I lost you there. Your voice.
Difficult
there.
So
thing
man,
to do.
your
Well,
mic.
you
is
saw
worse.
in the headline recently, I think yesterday or the day before I saw it, one of the, you know, he was talking about the mosquitoes for his officers and dengue, blah, 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 who was supposed to be guarding the heist with the drugs, the $171 million in drugs. But yesterday or the day before I read it, a cop was held in the Caroni Swamp peddling illegal guns. So, you know, but the point is, if you want to be out there and supervise and monitor things, you can do it. You don't have to be scared of mosquitoes and dengue. So, so what I was saying initially, guys, is that we need to have a coordinated effort, interministerial coordination. So once you catch these 90 people, there must be night courts and so on. Let it go through the legal system within a week or so. Finish that. Don't clog the system up. Just get rid of it. Let there be special courts to deal with these things. I don't know if you all recall, in 2005, Manning had identified 600 persons who were gangs. They were gangs, right? He identified the gangs and they in his words, about 600 people who is terrorizing the nation. 20 years later, you never hear nothing about that. How come? You said you knew what they were and this and that. You passed gang legislation, all this.
You know, they're children at the gangs now.
No, that's right. So they have graduated. Their parents got their masters, and the kids are now bachelor degrees in crime. That's crime.
I want to think there are a lot more persons involved in criminal activity. I mean, the commission identified 160, but I think there's way more persons out there, because it seems as though anywhere you go, and there's a soft target. Like we saw a video today. I don't know if Gary was able to upload it, where a woman was playing that roulette in one of those casinos, and she hit the jackpot, and she's coming out of the casino, and there's a guy inside the casino who scrambled her and started wrestling with her, and he tried to rob her inside of the casino. So it seems as though these bandits and criminals are just randomly roaming the country looking for soft targets. They're driving around the place. They see you opening your gate, they jump out. One guy jump at gunpoint, and they carjack you, and they go their merry way, right? It's just like total lawlessness here. So I think there's a lot more people that we need to go after, right, and identify. But again, look, let's commend the commissioner of police. He started off with around 60 here, and they got 90 in a short space of time, and there's about 50 or 60 still at large. But what I would like to see is more data, and if you could see the faces of these people, who they're trying to track, because we as citizens could make that call if we see that person. Now, if I don't have a clue of who this person is, he looks like Sumar, he looks like Mr. Dr. Maraj, or whoever it is, right? I don't know if the police is actually looking.
Yeah, but that could work. That could work both ways. That could cause them to escape, you see, and the police might have that information and just waiting for the moment to grab them. So it could work for and it could work against. So
correct.
So in fact he might have a team that the rest of the police force don't know who these guys are. You understand?
Yeah, but Gary, I think once you identify a threat, you need to alert people, because remember, they're coming for us, not the police officers. We are the target.
So he might have a selective team doing certain things, So all of this we have to take into consideration, because definitely. It's our police tipping our police too. So
correct.
Welcome, Captain Singh, in the house. Yeah, see, Captain Singh, he's in the sky right now, but
all right. Yeah. But you know what I say, Gary? Let there be this special course dealing with these people. Let's expedite these cases. Don't put them through the regular run-of-the-mill, choking up the system. Let there be
but you see, that is where this is the role our government will have to play now. This is where the justice system will. We talk about these things for many years. So this is where it becomes instrumental in the rehabilitation program, in the sentencing process, instead of jail time, it might be community service for some people, because we don't want to turn some people into bigger criminals and they may do a small thing. So all these things you have to separate. The hardened criminals, the guy with the gun crime, you sending him up. You had to send him for a longer period of rehabilitation, maybe even 10 years. You understand? Yeah. So you deal with him and you flush him out and you get him trained and skilled to do a job. Now, mind you, if you teach him the weld and he come out and he use that welding skill to break into somebody's house, there's another thing you have to deal with. But you at least have to give him the opportunity, to earn a skill and to make a living decently. And while the government is working on a few things, first of all, we are trying to reprocess our economic strategies and how we drive revenue into the country. right? We have to gain revenue. There's a lot of things that we have to do. We have to set the educational structure. There are people who need food right now. And I mean, I get the calls.
That's
and
right.
that these are the people that can't wait. They can't wait. So somebody move their mic and get enough feedback in. So mute your mic if you're not talking. Yeah, you guys hear me better now? So, I mean, there's a whole process we have to do, but we just can't have, you see some people here in the US have 38 times they were processed and they're out there to kill someone, rob somebody. We cannot allow these things, so, I mean, it's quite a bit. I mean, we're behind in a lot of things. Even the US here has a system where you're letting criminals out, so we all have to, so we have a long way to go, but we have to fix it quick. But my big thing is, I want to see more so the deterrent strategy, where we prevent the crime. That is what I'm more interested in. Stopping the enemy in the tracks, putting the right resources, making our response swift. Our response must be swift, effective. Our patrolling is absolutely essential. If we apply the deterrence and maintain consistency, I think we could achieve a hell of a lot. Go ahead, gentlemen.
So how much time the commissioner needs to clean up everything? Did he say? We just talked about how many people are caught and how much they're looking for, and what's the realistic estimation that those dollars will be found? Is there anything they're lacking that they need and they don't have? Could they identify what these are and what steps that they're taking to get them? If there is corruption in the ranks, it's usually the higher level, because if it's in the lower level, they'll find them. If it's in the higher level, they cannot. For example, like senior superintendents and assistant commissioners. If there's where the corruption is, that's his responsibility. So he has a lot to do, but he talks a lot, which is good. He needs a kind of active commissioner. He's not a braggadocio type like the other one, noisy one that we had some years back. But he seems as he's a level-headed guy who's thinking it through. But if there's corruption in the ranks, it's easy to find. It's a small place, it's a small country, they can be found. I mean, he's the head. He's supposed to know. So there should be zero corruption in the police service. Since he took office, there should be zero. That shouldn't happen. Increasingly, here's the question I have for them, and I don't know if you all have answers to these things, but I find that they're finding a lot of stuff in the bushes, in the rivers and in the mangrove, and they have no ownership. Do they have a process to track the ownership of these things? I guess these crimes are open. When you find a boatload of whatever drug it might be, there has to be ownership. Somebody owns this damn thing. How did it get there? So
well maybe we was too anxious. We was too anxious to pick up the drugs, and we didn't wait long enough to survey the.
That could be a problem, because you're supposed to hide out and wait. What the FBI does, they will wait 5 and 6 years.
Well, I guess the mosquito was biting too hard, so them fellas lose the patience, and they went and pick it up.
Okay, so they give them some kind of spray to spray themselves, or give them occasionally, but monitor these things till someone. They found some set of guns up in Lacano, Santa Cruz some years ago. A lot of guns. Somebody owned these damn things, and this is not little people moving these things. These are big people moving these things in the country. No doubt, if there's senior superintendent and assistant commissioner who have an idea what this is all about, somebody is allowing these things to happen. It's happening at the top. But the espionage have to take place so that when this is found, they have to sit it out and wait. I know you want to get them off the street, but if you know where they are, you will get them off the street eventually. Perhaps you'll get both. You'll get the owner of it and the exhibit off the street together at the same time. But you cannot rush to take it up and say, well, okay, now so much, 171 million worth of cocaine has now been off the street. I would like it to be off the street, yes, but with the ownership. So they all, because if you didn't get the owner, they're going to come back again. They're going to bring more. Because the ownership is
the drones will help us there. These remote control handheld drones
can play a major part too. And not only the big military drones, but we can utilize some small enough drones to survey the area, and then you could move in. So we have to better
so that's the
equip
question.
the police force in this, you know.
That's the question I asked you, Gary, before. When asking him, what do they need, and do they get what they need? What else do they need that they are not getting? Because if they need something and they're not getting it, we need to know what that is. That is not top secret. That is for everybody to know. If they
But
need
the thing
whatever
about
they
it,
need.
Dr. Mirage, some people may not be knowledgeable enough to know what they need to. You know.
And I think
You-
you're right, Gary.
and remember, some people get in the police force doing a school leaving. All
Gary,
right.
you may be right. You know,
Okay, but the thing, you know,
I would like
they need to get up with the program, right? And we living in a technological world. Trinidad is not really that far out of the zone of this technological world. We have a lot of Trinidadians who are right up there with it. But is the thing about it is we had a previous arrogant government who felt necessary to get rid of the helicopters. I mean, you know, so the police, instead of equipping the police, you know, they defund the police. So, I mean, everything was done in a way that put the police in a bad situation. And they didn't address the management of the police force. They see, this is not a one-man show. This is not bringing one sheriff in the town. You need a complete administrative change. You know, where you have to, you know, yeah. I mean,
it's strange in the way things are done. You can't have the same old when you're dealing with the younger crowd, more updated machinery, equipment, and so on. You have to be one step ahead or two steps ahead. But it's the other way around. The criminals are 2 steps ahead of the police. So it comes back to training, adaptability of the technology, and so on. Because according to Gary, you can't have school even guys who are going through 30 years experience and they don't know their head from the foot, how to solve modern day crimes. You know, a lot of forensic crimes.
I mean, we have to hold
crimes and so on.
We have to hold these senior officers responsible for the rogue behavior of the junior officers. Okay, we have to hold them seriously responsible for failure to manage, failure to supervise. Because this thing didn't happen, and you can't tell me you didn't see and know nothing, or you just decided to look the other way.
Let me just tell you this. You know, they would not be able to tell us this kind of thing. But here's a question: when you find a rogue officer in the police service, you don't skreel on him, but you use him as a decoy to get to who you want to get at. And if you don't, then you deal with him. So you buy him off.
As bait. Yeah. But they're usually more than one. There's usually more than one.
And you could do this with the constables and corporal and whoever, against sergeant, whoever. But you could also do this some criminals who you caught, and you can use them as a decoy to get to the head of the fountain.
But the Mirage, who's gonna do that? The DPP we have, the one that's kind of cockeye.
Well, that is where the commissioner comes in. I don't know. It should be organized. It should be something that
the DPP is an independent office. He's not functioning.
Oh no, not the DPP. We're talking about the police work. We're not talking about the DPP.
Yeah, but I'm saying the DPP failed here too.
Oh no, if he can't interfere with police work. I mean, police is police work. When we're done, we do what we do, then we go to him. We don't go to him until we do what we're doing. So this is before we ever get to him. We still did the decoy and buying off an agent. They call it agent provocateur, which is illegal in the West Indies. It's done a lot up here, but not there. In most of the Caribbean countries, don't do that. They don't pay up the decoy because it's not legal to do it. I don't know if we got just that law. But that's one thing they will not be able to tell you. But I mean, I hope that some things like that are going on. that they have to pay off the criminals. You buy off one criminal to get the head to get to the head, where you could catch everybody. So that is how you said, and that calls for years and years of investigation. If I was some of those people in Trinidad, those press people, I would be asking the commissioner what became of those 150 guns they got buried somewhere in Lacano, Santa Cruz.
Those press people are very selective in how they ask questions.
Yeah, and because I would like to know
those press people are more busy attacking the government and trying to make the government look like to get people to rile up against the government. You know,
because they're very light.
The decision that the prime minister is
very
taking.
light. They are lightweights. You know, they're lightweights. They're not really in depth. For example, I don't want to. I could go into this a little later, but I just want to tell you, the recent grading that they got from the Moody's and Standard & Poor's, all of them saying from the same hymn book. None of them had nothing new to add, including the PNM. They have not the PNM and the intellectuals, the so-called intellectuals from the University of West Indies. They have one drum to beat. They're singing a single song. They're not telling us something different. Look, when the government already said that in the short term they will have problem, and the long term be better off, which is what the rating agencies are saying. But the people spinning it differently here. They're thinking about they have money and they can't pay bill. Bullshit. That is not about not having money. What they're telling them is short term you have a problem, but long term you may be better off. If for somebody tell me that, I'm happy because I worry about the long term, not the short term. I could manage the short term.
Doc, one thing here before you go any further. The people who telling the government they don't have the money, them fail to tell me what they did with the money. And they are the same people that enrich their own relatives.
Yep.
Their own relatives got rich under this administration, okay, that benefited the most. And I ain't talking about pennies, I'm talking about millions of dollars, right? So them telling the government where you get the money because they're the one who are responsible for where the money gone.
But this findings that they find didn't happen overnight. It could not. So we know where it's coming from. This is the same rating that they have not really downgraded the long-term bonds, which is important. Short-term, yes. Long-term, no. Mm-hmm. So why do we need credit rating? Because you want foreign exchange? I don't understand what. I see some of these people from the university and including the PNM. They're talking about you got to find money in the international market to pay civil servants. Garbage. You pay civil servants in Trinidad and Tobago dollars, which is raising money in the local market. You don't need foreign exchange for that. So why saying, the government promising and not delivering? What do you want? They have the reason why you don't have foreign exchange because you look. They have been using the foreign exchange to buy marble and sweetie and chewing gum and snowball and ice cream. But they're not using it to create wealth and create value. And that is a legitimate complaint. That was typical PNM. The UNC is trying to move away from that. So this settlement period they're in, and I'm glad of that. They're talking short term, they're in problem, long term, they seem not to be. That means the government have the right policies. I noticed that Tanko went and tried to defend himself. He didn't have to because he was saying they didn't consider this. Don't make no excuses, really. You do what you have to do. They cannot invent the rating agencies. Why do we need rating agencies anyway? Because you want to borrow in the international market. That's one. There are other reasons, but that's one of the major reasons. So if you don't borrow there, you don't care about what they say. But eventually you need foreign exchange because the price of oil is falling, and we have a problem with that right here. And we are having an exchange problem, and they don't want to devalue, which is one option. And then the second option, the only option is import substitution or create wealth. You see, they're talking about foreign exchange, but when they had the refinery, billions of dollars were not needed in foreign exchange because now you have to get foreign exchange to buy the oil, to buy the petroleum, the gas. And all things that goes in there, the gasoline, they make nothing. Everything comes from abroad. So they had to buy it. I think they're buying it from Jamaica. Jamaica is the conduit to get the gas to them. They used to be Trinidad used to be the conduit. I don't know how they lost that because they used to import the oil and distribute to the smaller islands. Now Jamaica is doing it. They're going back. Everything they're going backward. But so what I'm saying then is that if they're saying that they went backward, short term they in problem, long term that's a good rating. That's a good rating. And the Minister of Finance didn't have to protect whatever they're doing. We already know what they're doing. Those people who are short, who think that they should borrow and spend, they have a problem. But the people who have to say that they borrow and invest, they don't have a problem. And that is where the UNC is, and that's the difference between the two. I could list about, and Gary, 14 items where the debate are happening now between the UNC and other people. Meaning, doesn't mean only the PNM, mean other people who taking a different position. So I could list about 14 items that we need to trash out on the UNC need to answer these things, because I'll tell you, I think Suman Mendes said this a few times on Ken and everybody else. This war to win the next election is already heating up. And these people are holding their nose, thinking that this is a 5-year government, like the past, like the rest, and they are going to come back again. And we have to saddle ourselves to make it sure that we do the correct thing and we politically smart, not only hardworking and get through a lot of stuff and a lot of things done. That in the end, that wouldn't count as much as winning the debate, like I always said, winning the debate in public opinion. Because the reason why we're having discussion really, is because we are thinking about 5 years after this first 5. And it cannot be one with the politicians and them alone, the parliamentarians. It has to be one on the ground with your own people, battling in every street, in every corner, in block by block, house by house, district by district, village by village, council by council. Up the chain. The ministers and them cannot do it. They're busy what they're doing. The party has a role to play between election. And that is where we are coming in. The reason why we're talking is because we are interested in this government doing their best to stay in power for the long haul. That is why I'm talking to you all. That is why we are discussing. That is why we should continue to discuss. And that is why we should continue, I hope, the hearing. Because I was saying the other day that the Prime Minister should grab the bull by the horn. What does that really mean? I think I was saying a bullhorn. And announce to the population what is the situation with Trinidad and Tobago and all this craziness that are going about with people saying all kinds of stuff. The only people who talking sense about this thing is the UNC, who calm and quiet about it, and maybe the American, who know what they want or what they, because they are the aggressor really.
Well,
so everything else.
Hold for a second. Let me give you a little video and then you could continue.
Trinidad and Tobago first. Our partnership with the United States is about Trinidad and Tobago, safety and security here. Those are issues for the Trump administration and for the United States. Trinidad and Tobago is no part of that blockade. We are about Trinidad and Tobago. And we are very happy with how things are progressing with the partnership with the US and with the state of emergency. Murders are down by 240. There are 240 less murders this year than last year. Let's not forget that. Over, $200 million in drugs busted only recently. So we're very happy about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah, she's right. But you got to broadcast. Don't wait for that. Don't do in a little nook and cranny. Take 8:00 p.m. whatever business hour. Take the business hour in the night and make an announcement and take no questions and walk away. Prime time. Yes. For all stations and they're going to come. While you. So you see, she explaining there that that's good, but not everybody going to carry that. But once you have the bullhorn and you talk down to them, you do it again maybe ever so often. Because the people, there's a lot of social media and talk on opposition carrying, Hannah, the people in the media carrying the total water. telling them that the UNC is selling out CARICOM because they were like the American people. Since when we hate America? Anybody could tell me when. I mean, I in America, I know some things in America I don't like. But since we could ever hate America, never. We do some of the things they do that we say we disagree, but in the end we still like them. We always say everything is American. Look at I see the guy talking on TV this tonight. They're talking DNBA, which I want to know which is DNBA. They're really talking American NBA as good as their. I thought it's their NBA. I thought they have one there too. No, they're talking about DNBA. That means they have already wrapped themselves into America, into whatever 44, whatever 50 something state they might be. So we have never had a problem with America. You always know, we look at America. I mean, when we were having the 1970, I was holding the gun. I went to London shoot with submachine guns. Because overnight we had to go and learn design thing because we were met with the 1970 so-called revolution. America was, I think I heard we got a shipment that was coming from Venezuela, but I think the majority of gun came from America. We got all the shipment, quick shipment by air. So whenever anything happened, everybody run to America for America. So we really never really have issues in America. There's something we have now with the administration, which this is a temporary thing. This will take care of itself. And that is why I'm telling you the other night that this guy who's making all this problem, he could have solved it differently. You say it's not about oil, but you seize the people oil and so what you're going to do really say, well, you keep it. So then it's about oil then. I don't know. This is so, but again, like I said, we in America, we have to separate the two. When we're talking like Americans, we're talking about our issue. When we're talking like Trinidadians, we're talking about their issues. And we're entitled to talk on both. Because we still have dual citizenship, Trinidad have dual citizenship, in case you don't know, in case you all know that. I mean, you all know that, so I don't have to tell you. So we could talk on both sides.
But the
really,
thing about it, Dr. Maraj, first of all, let's clarify here. The Prime Minister has clarified this. Trinidad and Tobago is seeking Trinidad and Tobago interests. We are working. This is like you say, killing. I want to say two birds with one stone. So the U.S. simultaneously has their interests, but while they're in the region, they're supporting our interests at the same time. So it may look like we are participating with the U.S. to invade Venezuela, which is not so. We are participating in our own interests. The U.S. has a dual interest there that they are working with us, and they are simultaneously dealing with the issue in Venezuela. And people will try to spin this in the other way around and saying Trinidad is conspiring. Trinidad is not conspiring with anybody for anything. Trinidad is utilizing the resources that came to them. And anybody who thinks, any Caribbean airline who thinks they can go against the U.S. will suffer serious economic consequences. So let them back.
Right. So I told him, and remember I told you the other day, they talk about zone of peace, how much bazooka they have, how many battleship they have that they could enforce the zone of peace. The same America to enforce, if they want a zone of peace to be enforced, is America will have to do it. Who else will do it? So, okay, they want to, so if America want to land a warplane in Jamaica, let them say no, no. But America would ignore them and land it wherever they want. So what the hell are they talking? Let it talk and no action. That's usual. That's typical. You ever see the CARICOM have a meeting, some meeting or so where some big time hotel, some they eating caviar and drinking brandy and talking, dancing and wailing, and they go, we had a good meeting. And they go, what? Your good meeting is what? Well, you had a good time. That's their version of a good meeting. So
look at your screen. Look at your screen, Doc.
Yeah.
This is the previous administration signing an agreement that they did not disclose what they signed with the United States, right? Now they're condemning the Prime Minister, right? So what agreement do you think they signed with the U.S. there?
Well, they signed, I think, 5 agreements, 5 main agreements there. One that they renewed, which was initially signed in 2007. And it was renewed in 2013, and then they renewed it again and they modified it. So it captures the military to military equipment, engagement, and cooperation. That is the SOFA agreement, which is the status of forces agreement, right? And then there's the ACSA, which is acquisition of cross servicing agreement, right? Where they are allowed to exchange military logistics support, supply services between the U.S. Department of Defense and the Trinidad and Tobago forces. So it's hypocritical for the PNM now to come and say and speak against this or speak differently about the ongoing operations. I just don't get it, right? They signed this agreement in 2024, December 10th. So for them to come and say, what is the US doing here? Why are we entertaining this? Why do we have a radar here? Why do we have this here? I mean, this is like a no-brainer. Maybe they're sleeping under a rock, right? Because they signed those agreements.
Right,
And that was
right.
just
So okay.
a few
So you
months
see,
ago.
that is why I'm telling you. You have to answer them back. Now, they would hope that people forget that doesn't know about. They wouldn't like they have a Gary around who would bring this up and show us. Look, look what they did. What the hell they're talking about? Look what they did before. And you could tell me which one of them will say if America wants to walk into any one of these countries like anybody or anywhere in the Caribbean, who could stop them? They're talking. Look, Trinidad is better you join America and you have a little sway with them rather than trying to oppose them because you're gone. If you try to oppose them, you're gone. Listen, might is right. Power is power. You have to subject yourself to power. You could talk about how much you want about zone of peace and zone of war and zone of nonsense. You're talking crap. Because they will call the shots. The strong will call the shots in the world. You could go to the UN, talk and make noise, a lot of noise. That's nice. But in the end, it's boots on the ground will count. All these ships that is sent into the Caribbean, I'm sure the Venezuela president is thinking twice. I'm sure he must have been thinking, you know what, is there any way I could settle this without last week I was leaving you and I said, I hope that this could be settled without a gunshot. You think he ain't thinking along that line too? You think Trump really want to do, whoever president wanted to get into a war? Especially, they don't know how it will end. This will never end. Maybe this will never end good. Because these things are never, this is a prolonged kind of a problem we will have. I think we're going to end up, and you see, you're saying Trinidad is too close not to be physically affected by whatever is happening between these two giants. Nothing was Gypsy who said when elephant fight, the grass suffers. Well, Trinidad is the grass and these are elephants. So,
Well, you know,
so
Dr. Maharaj,
let me just
Dr.
give you a chance. I'll finish this now. Let me just finish up this. So really, the prime minister will. I'm suggesting still that she go and use the airwaves. Maybe not now, not too now, but use that. And here's here about the PNM, as you all mentioned the PNM just now. They are going to, look. You all know this, and I don't want to tell you things you know, but the opposition, their role is to oppose. So, if they're opposing, they're doing a good thing. But you see what Gary did just now? Did show them the hypocrisy that you saying this and look what you did, man. That is why you answer them point to point. You beat them down because there are a sizable portion of Trinidadians who are subject to move in one direction or the other. And therefore, the debate in the public domain is necessary to sway these undecided, or these, even some of them might even be PNM people, they might be UNC people, they might be not affiliated. They would like to get the best for Trinidad and Tobago. And whoever will score the highest points in the public opinion, they will go along. The PNM is saying that 100,000 didn't return yet. They will, when they come out next time, they hope the 100,000 who they said would return in the next 5 years. When the Calypsonians start to sing song just now, you'll see a lot of them will be going back home. Because the Calypsonians wouldn't start from this year, like from next year, they will start singing songs, showing the weakness in the UNC, even though ill-founded or not. And then you find the 100,000 will say that making sense now, because they listen to the Calypsonian people. Right now, the Calypsonian wouldn't come out this year, but they see from next year, they might start this year and see how it goes, but next year, the following year, nearer the next election, see how much of them coming out and making mockery out of the UNC, all kinds of stuff they'll be saying. You have to battle them one by one, point by point, just like Gary just did, and just like many of you will do, and many of the UNC people will do in the future. Because they think that, as Dr. Rambo always said, that they are an institution that legitimately this country is theirs and they are born to rule. Anybody else is a temporary government. They are the only ones for longevity in ruling the country. And that is why they want to talk about their brothers and sisters in the West Indies. We always call them cousins, like, they are really brothers. They're brothers and sisters. But to we, it is cousins in the Caribbean. Our brothers and sisters in Tobago and Trinidad.
I always say, and I'm not afraid to say, that CARICOM is the PNM voters bank. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, many of them have a likeness for the small islands because they're grandparents and they come from there. I mean, there are more Grenadians living in Trinidad than living in Grenada.
Hey,
There used to be.
Grenadian was in Wassa, St. Vincent in Wassa, TNT, you name it. They came straight off the boat and the grandparents got the job, right? That is how Eric William kept himself. He imported the help. Okay, how much help did he import from Guyana? How much help did he import from Grenada, St. Vincent, and really Tobagonians, right? How many are real Tobagonians? How many are the original people from there? Right? Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
They came to Tobago and then they said they're from Tobago. Right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Gary. Because
So
I know a lot.
I am not afraid. I'm not afraid to say that. And so the thing about it is the people realize, and the younger generation who are saying they're not putting up with this. And they're not turning back. That was the song. They're not turning back. So what I'm concerned about now is our level of service delivery. What we provide for them in the promises that we make and how fast we deliver. Because there are people hungry and people hungry, you got to move quick.
Yeah.
Right, but at the same time, we got to debunk all the misinformation and fake news.
Yeah,
right?
we got to depend. That's why we're here. That's why our team is here.
And this is a classic case and a very important one because a lot of the PNM people and Dr. Rowley now seems to be he have seemed to come out of retirement from his political career.
Well, let me tell you, you notice they will stick together, right? They will stick together.
He's now the key spokesman for the PNM, right? I don't know, maybe Penelope lost her teeth or something or bite. But Dr. Rowley's talking about, I say he's pushing back against the U.S. presence, military aircraft landing.
Well, he has. Don't you think he might have vested reasons?
Right, but here's the thing, right? You signed an agreement when you were in government, 5 agreements, right? And that there is it shows how hypocritical he is, right? Or how biased he is. And how,
let them didn't sign her. Let them didn't sign her. And I am very suspicious of his premature resignation. You understand?
Right.
Before the election, remember, something went down.
Also remember, we had Delcy Rodriguez, and we don't know who else again were flying back and forth with these impromptu meetings that was not properly recorded or minuted. So there's a lot of questions, to be asked here, So I don't know why he's complaining about military aircraft landing in Tobago or Trinidad, right? When there are agreements in place to facilitate this, And I see Captain Singh. He's on here. Captain Singh, you want to elaborate a little bit on this?
Yes. When the former Prime Minister had signed on to the agreement, he had no choice in the matter. I mean, you're dealing with the most powerful country, superpower in this hemisphere and in the world. And he signed those documents, the SOFA agreement, and that's what the UNC government has inherited. So now the new Prime Minister, she has this, and it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I've been in numerous countries where we had SOFA agreements, and the United States aided that country in a lot of economic and military and with the policing department. And a lot of social programs came from the United States. They have the money and they're able to inject capital into a system. And Trinidad and Tobago, we have
a point. We got $25,000 US dollars in to donate it to one of the schools there, right, for the kids. And then if you want to elaborate and talk about the refueling of the equipment and stuff and the servicing of the equipment.
Yes. So now we have Piaco Airport and the A&R Robinson Airport with the C-130s and other airplanes that may or may not be discussed that would be landing there. So you'd have the experience with the air traffic control people, and also the civil aviation would have to get on board with this sort of joint venture with actual airplanes flying around. It's not one helicopter or one offshore patrol vessel now. So there's a lot of aircraft flying about in and about of our space, and that information, like with the radar that has been placed in Scarborough, that information could go two ways. It can go to the United States forces out in the ocean, or it could go to the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, National Security Department, and they take the actions. A lot of times we did patrols in Kosovo, and it was not us doing it. We would collect the information and give it to the other forces, the local police, and they would go ahead and execute it. Now, with the United States overwatching, if you have corrupt individuals in there and people are not being held with the contraband, then you're going to see a major issue. So then the government has an idea who they got to be tracking within the policing department. I think another great example is that the alcohol has been taxed quite heavily. And now what you're seeing is people trying to smuggle alcohol into the country from some other source, and it was stopped. And for years, people have been saying that boats would pull up at that pier in Chaguaramas and no one checks anything. So for years, could you imagine the millions of dollars in contraband coming through right in Port of Spain with no one looking at it, no police, no senior superintendent, no one. But all of a sudden, they go ahead and they held about 21 people who tried to flee. And certainly if they interrogated in the proper right manner, they'll find exactly what this gang is about.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Captain Singh, you made a good point there, right, with the interception of drugs. But we have to clarify something here, because apparently the people of Trinidad and Tobago seem to be a little confused, right? And mainly the PNM people, because they're talking about the radar. Now, this radar is mainly is designed, or is mainly to pick up missiles, projectiles, mainly stuff that's in the air, right? Not small vessels like in the swamp and stuff. But you want to elaborate a little bit on that piece of equipment?
Yes. So this is a new piece of equipment. When I was in up to 2015 in the Army side, I would not have been familiar with this particular radar. We had the Prophet, which is a different system. And now the system has been shrunk where you could put it on a vehicle and move it about. It's similar to this piece of equipment. It's mainly for the intelligence department. However, the Marines and the Navy, they're a whole different entity altogether. So this piece of equipment is to track artillery, projectiles coming in from a particular way, and aircraft, and it could also aid with the traffic control. So that is what it's mainly designed for. If you go on open source,
let me just break it down. So let me just break it down in layman terms here. Venezuela fires a missile at Trinidad. This radar will pick it up and alert the necessary team to react accordingly. But it will pick up anything that they can fire at us.
Yes, and it had to be placed strategically in that area because of the angle you're looking at the north side of Venezuela. So it has a wide range and view there. But the other thing is it can be used to pick up certain boats. But there will be a lot of interference, but it can be done. So again, the United States government is not gonna put the exact thing on open source, what the capabilities of this piece of equipment is and how it works. They just give you a general guideline of it. And from my experience, definitely if you have a low riding vessel, like a submarine type vessel smuggling through there or a speedboat, and it's low down to the water, I don't think it'll be that good at detecting that. But then you have we have drones that could loiter for 72 hours with a high resolution camera, the range of about it sits at 40,000 feet up in the sky and can see all the way around. So similar to the Crow system where you can lock into a target. So let's say there's a vessel moving at a high rate of speed and the drone picks it up, it puts an X on it, and it follows it. That vehicle would never be able to get away from it, because it's going to be locked. So again, but come back to the radar and all this media attention, the radar, and it keeps going on every day. It's just simple talk by the PNM and their operatives to make something out of nothing. And for years we've been clamoring, we don't have money for boats, we don't have money for aircraft, and we don't have money for radar. And what's the cost to the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Now we have a piece of equipment and it's free. We have all of this equipment, and we have a prime opportunity to stop smuggling, contraband, and drugs into Trinidad and Tobago and reduce crime. Ken?
Yeah, correct. So the people who are against this radar and against the military presence there, right? I believe they have to answer some questions as to why you want this radar removed, right? Maybe they have, as Gary said, maybe they have a vested interest in the narco operation, or they are facilitating in some way or the other.
I think
right?
the cash flow is disrupted, man. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
I think so. I think it's impacting their bottom line. And
correct.
if you
I
give
said
assurances to the big guys somewhere that you're gonna give your best efforts, well, now you have no choice but to try anything at any means necessary, even if you look bad on the local news and international news, because you have to show those people that you tried because you took their money. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case with all of those people of the Caribbean islands, because if you look at the economy, and they seem to be pretty quiet about it, they seem to be doing really well, and they claim it's all from tourism. We might want to think there's something more going on there, but the United States should be following the money. If the money starts drying up along there, we'll see if there's an impact that's happening. So. Ken, I do think that these people that are against this radar and against the military and everything that is good that's going to come out of this after 40 years of non-policing and no abilities whatsoever, and a lot of wastage of money, because a lot of these boats that were bought, they're non-disclosure type of agreements. So who knows how much money was cut in the deal wherever they were cut, and it went into the coffers of those individuals that went and made those deals. So if that was to continue, money that's spent every year in the national budget, and I don't know what it is, but I know it's a high number. Every single year there was always a high number of it. You start taking out the wastage from this, and personnel who are not performing, and all these corrupt people who are in there. Now we need to look at the entire system and weed them out. And thank goodness that there is a joint effort that's happening now with the United States, because I don't think that they can bribe the DEA on this, and they can definitely bribe the military that's operating out there. So those are two things I see positives for Trinidad and Tobago in the near future. I was looking at the address to the nation with the president there just now, and he was talking about the economics here in the United States. I was looking on to see if there was it was going to make any statement on the Venezuelan situation, other than what he said the other day, that all sanctioned boats will be stopped. So again, the economic noose is tightening on the Maduro government, and it's only a matter of time before something gives, because a lot of the boats apparently turned away because they don't want to be captured by the United States for something that they're doing illegal, and then the owners of the boats, they're going to lose their financial assets. So it seems as though it's a new tightening, and we'll see as we go into the rest of this month and into the next year how this thing pans out. But economically, for Trinidad and Tobago, with those airplanes landing, and also the fees that they may have to pay for the tarmac time that they spend out there, I'm almost certain that it's going to be a profit. And it would be good of the government to, put out a statement, later on, how much money was generated from this period of time, and if significant money is generated, not to waste it, but put it into some good projects that could improve the the airport system that they have down there. Ken?
But Alvin, if we have dual interests, which the U.S. presence is benefiting us with the resources that they have there, then possibly those fees could be waived. You think about it that way, because
no,
that's not possible.
No, the United States, they pay.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. All right. I'm just saying they pay, but when I'm saying that
the fact that the money's not that money is already budgeted. They don't come in there and they're not with cap in hand. Their money is budgeted.
Right.
Trust me, the money is budgeted. It's
they pay for the airspace and the time and the fuel and all that.
They won't take it for free. That's how the United States operate. It has to be.
No, I'm just saying, but we have a dual interest, and it works in our best to have that amount of resource. I always say that to have that amount of resource is causing some restraint.
Yes, but I tell you, the money is there when they budget the operations, and in some parts where I was at, I'll give you an example in Afghanistan. So we had full money to do a lot of things. So every month you draw an amount of money that I was drawing cash, but the budget was unlimited for the whole time you were there. So I'm saying in any one of these operations, there's an amount of money that's put out there, and that's way above my capacity, because I'm not the financial person. My job is not to think about the finances, just to get the job done. I leave that to the financial department. The mission comes first, and what the mission is given. So the same thing happens over there. So if they have the acquisition, airtime, airspace, ground time, all that is paid for, and their money is on time. There's no delay. There's no holding out for years or anything like that. No, it's done. But again, by the amount of drugs that's been confiscated, and also this smuggling of the alcohol that was brought in right there at the pier in Chaguaramas, which everybody knows was an open pier, and things come in there quite often. Hopefully now that the corruption or the corrupted individuals that were passing through there, this government will do something about it and tighten the borders on it. Because now we don't even know if those the alcohol that was brought in is actual genuine vodka or whatever it is. There's a lot of fraud going on out there with stuff like alcohol and foods and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that's put together in a room somewhere, and looks as though it's legit, but could make a tidy profit, and that's with organized crime. So this is not a small thing. This is organized crime. This is organized crime that would have already been in place in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not only drugs that we think is transshipment. There was also bunkering of fuel that was being taken from Trinidad in Sealot somewhere out there at one time, and who knows where else it was being done. So with the United States presence in there, I think they have a lot of eyes out there. So hopefully, more intel will come through, and more people will be held. But I would like to see, the kingpins of this of who was operating in Trinidad and Tobago be exposed, and laws should be in place that the money confiscated and put into the government coffers, especially if it's gotten from ill-gotten gains like cocaine smuggling and drugs and all of this stuff. Ken?
Yeah,
we would have to bring in through the embassy. I mean, the agreement is we could have to bring in like DEA and FBI and things to set up a base in Trinidad to really, beside the military thing, we will have to work with the U.S. law enforcement to
Well,
kind of
Gary,
sort.
I think they're already there. You know, they already have the
No,
DA
they're
and stuff
already
there
here. They're already here in a smaller scale, but
in a small,
this on
exactly a smaller
on a
scale.
larger scale, on a
Yeah,
larger
yeah.
scale.
I know the office. You know, yeah, it's a small scale operation. You know, but I think more military presence because we're going after these cartels. These are, you know, this is not small people here with small money. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And I believe after we're done with Venezuela, we will have to probably look at Colombia also. And I'm speaking from a U.S. perspective here,
Yeah, but
right?
I don't think we're just
Because
dealing with Venezuela alone. We're dealing with that
yeah,
entire region. I don't think it's just
correct,
Venezuela.
correct, correct. So I saw Marco Rubio signing some agreements in Paraguay here also. So we strengthen the Latin American presence, and I think Trinidad is a very very strategic. We're in a very very strategic location, right? And we are poised to benefit the most, given our initial position here and our take, right, by allowing and partnering with the U.S. military and signing off on all of these agreements here, you know, and living up to it. And we are acknowledging all of this and honor it. We have military aircrafts that are landing in Tobago and Trinidad. We're refueling, right? So I see a strengthening relationship moving forward there and economic gains. We have seen it with the tariffs on our chemical exports, right? The fertilizers and stuff, right? But also, Gary, when you remove the geopolitical risk, it is a big plus for us there, right? And I think there's the energy sector will be revitalized in Trinidad, and you know we'll see a lot of American companies, right, partnering with them, you know. So there's a
Right.
lot. It's very optimistic moving forward. Short term, Moody's and you know S&P could you know they could give us a rating, you know, based on a short term outlook. But down the road, I think that this will change, and I'm very optimistic. You know, after the smoke has cleared, I think we'll start to really see and reap the benefits here.
Agreed.
So, you want to
Agreed.
say something?
Yeah, agreed. Ken, I agree with what you've been saying. The current rating is B, capital B, A2. All right, which is the long-term outlook is what we should really be concerned about. And because of the foreign exchange situation, they're maintaining that BA2, projection. Moody's, that is, but they have S&P, Standard & Poor's, a couple of other international rating agencies as well. But that affects more so our credit rating for borrowing in the international market, not in the local markets. And that you made a good point. That monies which they pay in the public servants is in TT dollars. So these funds can be raised locally. So this has nothing to do with international credit rating and our ability to borrow to pay the public servants. Certain people are making an issue out of this. But people are happy that they're getting their arrears, which are due to them for more than 10 years. You have two sides of the coin, huh?
Well, that's where we'll have to balance internally, right?
It has to be balanced.
Cutting the waste, Subad.
And not only that, the current government made certain, promises to the people, and they're keeping their promises.
That's correct.
So
that's correct.
That is where you slice it. The number one criteria is that, did I promise this? Okay, I kept my promise. Did I promise laptops? Yes, I kept my laptop. Did I promise, A, B, C, D, and E, water for all or water for 70% of the population in 2 years' time? Yes, I keep it. Did I promise removal of the tax, the property tax? Yes, I'm keeping to. So the government is laying out the criteria why they're doing these things, as at the same time chalking up what their promises were and identifying how much. You see, at the end of the day, if we have 100 promises and they did 80, you can say you did well over the long term.
That's correct. That's correct.
The main point, though, is what I keep on saying. This has to be communicated 24/7 in their face, in the public, in the press, in the television, all the time, because this is you know what the PNM strategy was? It just go to open a water tap. They're communicating that on TTT, you know, a bus shed. They're communicating that the public was, you know, seeing
So,
that.
an ongoing project, an unfinished project, they cut the ribbon to that.
Yeah, but the airport in Tobago is a classic example. The hospital in Port of Spain is a classic example. The highway which they were doing, that one, the slipshot one, they were, you know, in San Grande. All these are examples of unfulfilled projects, right? They call it soft opening. What is a soft? I never heard that terminology before. A soft opening means, well, you know, you're building 11 stories in Port of Spain, a wing, an entire new wing in the hospital, and you have only one floor relevant. The 5th floor is the only floor. The elevator goes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, and that was the soft opening. Airport in Tobago, I can tell you, because I follow that very, very, very closely, there are so many international license breaches that has been made that it's still up to this date, even though the PNM said by July everything will be regularized. This is December, nothing has been regularized as yet. Because I know I went and signed several contracts with companies like Virgin Atlantic, British Airways, you know, XL Airways, Condor Airlines out of Germany, Martin out of France, KLM, Dutch Air France, KLM, the ones in Houston, that big company, man, they used to fly directly to Trinidad. Now they bypassing Trinidad and flying directly to Guyana, Continental Airways. I mean, I signed contract with each one of these airlines, and I could tell you.
Yeah, they are now United. They're merged with United. So
correct. Yes. They supply up to Houston, Newark, directly to Trinidad.
Yeah. They're doing a trial now after COVID. They recently started. Last year was the first flight. They're doing a Christmas thing.
But they're doing two. You know why he can't, Gary? Because we had 150 companies from Houston who are operating in Point Lisas. And that is why that flight was always more or less.
I know, I understand that. But what I'm looking to do is, I'm interested, and I already mentioned it, is I'm interested in getting Caribbean to fly out of Newark Airport. That's what I'm seeking to get done.
But they were doing that. Continental was flying. When I signed that contract coming back, they said that is the route. Houston, Newark, Trinidad, direct. Now it's 2 flights to Guyana they're doing. Again, because of the oil and gas in Ghana. A lot more oil servicing companies out of Houston are operating, you know.
No, I understand that. But I am seeking an opportunity for Caribbean Airlines to fly out of Newark Airport, because we have a lot of trainees in New Jersey. We have a lot of trainees in Pennsylvania that has to go all the way to JFK.
Yes,
and it's a really
even Washington D.C. because
situation.
Even Washington D.C. because I don't know if you know, in the 80s and 90s, when I was there in Washington, they used to fly out of BWI, Baltimore, Washington International. So.
Yeah, so that's another route. That's another route we need. We need
BWI. Because I used to take that route to fly to Washington when I used to come to school. So no longer these flights. I mean, the Newark may be a much better option for the people in the Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, in Washington D.C., New Jersey, and so on. But the question is. The point I was making is that these international airlines have stipulations that things like perimeter fencing, perimeter roadway. People flashing their, these little mirrors in the cockpit and so on. Birds hanging around like dump heaps and so on there. These things cannot be near an airport, because I don't know if you know, these big international airlines, some, God forbid, something happens or some crashes, they are liable to millions and millions of dollars in payouts to the, persons who are being affected. So we don't understand, or I should say we as Trinidadians don't seem to understand how these international airlines operate and what the rules they're governed by. So when I tell you that I cannot fly into that place because I see cattle grazing and you're fencing, so on the perimeter fencing and 2 holes, or there's galvanized shining, reflecting at 3 o'clock in the evening in the flight path, they dazzling me in the cockpit. All these things we have to get rid of. And now in Tobago, because they have not met that stipulation, because I mentioned it to you personally, Gary, several times, what the problem is that they still have not gotten approval, even though the PNM said come July, because they did the soft opening in March, and they said by July everything will be ready. Well,
I know I have messaged, but we'll talk about this off here. But I want you to, to make an attempt to get in touch with the Minister of Transportation. Also, I messaged him, but I didn't get a response. But we'll work towards that.
Okay, Yakul, because think that Airports Authority falls under him. His portfolio, one of his.
Yeah, that's civil aviation.
Civil aviation, yeah. Airports Authority as well. But I don't know, Gary. There are lots of things have to be weeded out and strengthened and redo the systems and put new systems in place and have the legislation to back these things up.
Yeah. Well, Samad, look at the revamping of that's CPEP, right?
Yes,
the Open Space Program.
Yes.
That will equate into millions in cost savings, right? Again, we looking at efficiency and waste reduction. Right?
But that is the Tobago model they adopted. Because Tobago CPEP and URP was totally different from Trinidad CPEP and URP.
Because this CPEP was just a haven for fraud, right?
Money.
Members of the PNM got they got so rich off of it. So again, there's a lot of so this new program is very transparent, right? Mm-hmm. The people are being paid a decent wage.
Well paid.
Correct, well paid. And you can see the different layers and the structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how so it's well thought of. It's an excellent plan, right? The Open Space Program, right? And it's all permanent jobs.
So
and they're going to build on this.
Now, where are the PNMites who say, it's racial discrimination, you're taking things off in black people, the most vulnerable in society? Where are they now? Where are they now? Where is the damn press to highlight this?
So, somebody should tell the PNM we need to move beyond race, right? And stop the black people and the racial gap, and stop whistling that here. That is the only argument that they have. Let's move beyond race.
They have been using that to good
and that is the only argument. That's all they have in their toolbox, right? To talk about race.
They have been using that.
Just like the guy in Silot there, the breadfruit guy, right? Yeah, classic case. Let's use him as a classic case. The Stand Your Ground bill, right? He said this is going to put his members of his constituency at risk, and they're very scared, right? He's speaking for them. They're not speaking for themselves. That's his words.
Yes.
So we don't know what is true or false, but he's saying that and implying that there are criminals in his constituency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to move past all this nonsense that the PNM continues to peddle and try to this information and stuff here. And they're using race with it also.
Yeah. That is the
They're race
only
baiting.
card. That's the only card they have now, Look at it personally, and from a statistical point of view, that is their only trump card they have now, because every single thing, whenever they open the mouth, is either a bunch of lies or half-truths or non-issues. Penny Bakers is talking about the Scarborough Hospital. They're saying, we built that, only to be refuted by Kamala today. She said,
I saw it.
2012, we opened that hospital. And I was there at that time in Tobago as a director. And Fuad Khan came and opened the hospital. He brought on the MRI machines and everything else, fully staffed, all the equipment and what have you. And she also highlighted how much money was going to other projects other than the hospital, into personal people's, projects. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is
a
the
lot
thing.
of waste reduction. Moving forward.
Yeah. And now that
Right.
the UNC putting systems in place with accountability intact, like the CPFURP, the Public Space Project, and as soon as they start up, hopefully in the new year, with a lot more employment practices, hiring a lot of new teachers, and so on. I was telling you, this is the same thing. How come there were over 20,000 positions in the teaching service and the public service that were not filled? Deliberately not filled over the past 10 years. Why? So now that the government is planning to do that, right, to create employment so that everyone gets a little bite of the cherry, so to speak.
Yeah. And we've seen all of this done in just 8 months in government.
Just 8 months.
Right? Crime reduction. Crime dropped by 46%, 40%.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The Prime Minister mentioned again. And those are some of the numbers that we need to reiterate. Right?
And keep on hitting it in your face all the time.
Hitting that ball out, hitting it out in the ballpark. Right?
And Dr. Maraj was making that point, and that is a very pertinent point, That is something
because people seem to forget that just a few months ago last year, under the PNM, we had the highest murder homicides in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. 624 homicides.
Yes, right.
624. So those are record numbers, and that was just last year. And look at the dramatic drop, right?
Yeah. And
40+%, same time last year.
But now you see the other argument of the press. The press is not highlighting that, Ken. What the press is highlighting now, and a few commentators are highlighting, well, you're doing that, but we didn't see the UNC crime fighting plan. We didn't see the plan yet. Where is the UNC crime fighting plan?
Well, here's the thing. You don't need to see the plan. You don't need to see the plan. The plan is working. The profile the numbers. Correct. See the numbers.
This is what.
Yeah.
See,
what you want to
this is the thing. And you can shut down all these reporters and private commentators and so on. You shut them down like that. And nobody is doing that because the press is not going to do that for you.
At the end of the day, the numbers speaks volume
all the time. The
right?
data doesn't
and it
lie.
also reflects the success of the strategic plans in place. Right?
Yes. So crime is not coming down just like that. There has to be a strategic plan behind the scenes. Okay, you want to see the plan? Well, look at my numbers, and you judge. You be the judge. Throw back
look at the end results.
Yes,
right?
the outcomes.
Yes,
which I
correct.
always like to speak about. I try to do all my planning, strategic planning, on a simple straight line basis. Input, processing, output. Whatever problem you have, go into that formula. Input, processing, output. You may think it's a computer theory. Yes, it is. But I do all my strategic planning in any project. Because I was doing something for WASA recently, about a week and a half ago. And I was telling one of the senior managers, input, processing, output. He said, it's computer technology you're trying to apply. I say, okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. What is your input? Input is your water supply. How are you going to collect? How are you collecting the water? How are you storing the water? How many wells you have? How are you allocating for the dry season? Blah, blah, blah. That is your input. What is your processing? Your processing is your distribution of the water. How many mains you have? What size of mains? How many leakage in the mains? Or what's your water storage capacity? That is your distribution of water. Then what is the outcome, your output? Well, the output is simply the customers, your consumers. And I was talking about Tobago. I say, hey, you know what? In Tobago recently had 40,000 extra visitors for the carnival in October, right? This year. The population of Tobago West is 40,000. So in other words, you have a doubling of the capacity. You as a manager now, if you're not planning your stuff in Wassa and you don't know that data of 40,000 extra people coming into the island for that weekend, and some of them have to stay up to Monday and Tuesday because Carnival is on Sunday. We have to stay because they can't get flights to come on. You're talking about a 4 or 5 day window which you need to double your capacity of water into Tobago. So that is your outputs, input, processing, output. And then he started to realize, hey, yeah, boy, you know what you're talking about. I say, well, I know what I'm telling you. Input, processing. You can do any strategic plan. You just call it different things. Output can mean your outcomes. What are you hoping to achieve? This is your KPIs, your key performance indicator. This is in year 1, I want to be so. Year 2, I want to be like that. Year 3, I want to be 20% more like that. So these things, these managers, implementers, they have no clue, of what strategic planning entails. They just got their positions because they are party hacks, and that's it. Now, I was reading today. I don't know if I follow the business news a lot. Gary, do you know who is the chairman of the board of Angostura? Anybody knows?
Is that some Hunt guy or something? Who's that guy?
Who is Hunt? I think Tom, that's a flag man, the $2 million flag. He charged the PNM. They put up that flag. He's a ex-PNM minister. You're right. That's his name, Gary Hunt.
Okay, he's the chairman?
He's the chairman. And he is appointed when? August this year. 3 months after the UNC came into power. Think about it. I say no more. So, you see, these guys will do anything to bring down the party. You have to be careful. And Angostura, one of our more popular companies, by the way. Private companies. So, yeah. There's also a situation with the Forex thing, the Exim Bank. I don't know if you followed that part of the economic side of things. But the CEO, which is Mr. Dukuran's son, Navin Dukuran, has been terminated. And apparently, it's been rumored that he was the one who was stalling the process of people getting foreign exchange. Now, I don't know if anybody knows the structure of companies. A CEO is the person in between the company and the board of directors. So the CEO takes instructions from the board of directors, takes that instruction, passes it on to the company management team. Now, if you terminated that guy, the CEO, for saying that you are the one who is causing foreign exchange to be like this, is it really him? Or is it the higher ups who's giving him the instructions to say, yeah, you have to get this person, you have to get that person, you have to get that person? Who is the person who is making that decision? Not the board of directors. So the board is giving the CEO the instructions. So by terminating the CEO makes no sense. That is not going to solve the forex problem, even though people think that is going to be solve the
Well,
problem.
I think I have to disagree with you, Sumant. I think
All
that's the way
right,
we
tell
had
me
to deal
how
with
it
it.
is. Tell me how it is, Gary, because if you're a CEO of a company, you have
Yeah.
people over you who will tell you what to do. You know? That's your board of directors. I've been through that 10, 13 years. I can tell you what they do. You have to take the instructions and say, Sumant, I want you to do A, B, C, D, and E. I take that and go to the managers now of the company. Hey, you're the manager of marketing, you're the manager. You know what? The board says this is policy. So you have to implement that.
So, so
And
Suman,
we have to put people there that will listen to us
yeah,
and be accountable.
and that's the
And
point.
maybe
If the
Yes,
man not listening to the board, right?
you
Then he
have
has to be.
to because you're the
So,
CEO.
so if he not listening to the board, then what happens?
If he's not, he's terminated right away.
Well, right,
But
then
we,
case
well, that's
closed.
why
but
you
Case
don't know the
closed.
details behind the scenes too much, so we have to
see
get rid
the
of him. I
see the
support that. Get rid of all of
see the
them.
people on the board. Well, you see, same thing with Gary Hunt. He could come and tell the CEO of Angostura, do this, do that, do that. That's to screw up things. Why shouldn't you be? Well, in addition to him, the CEO, you should also fire the board. That is my contention.
Well, I'm sure will fire accordingly that we need to, but I definitely
You
support.
see, this
Maybe,
is
but
the
we don't
point,
know
you
the
know.
details. We don't know the details why he
But
was
I have
fired, and
I have a good enough knowledge of what goes on there. I happen to know a few of them in the board as well. That's how I can tell you what goes on. Why don't you also terminate some members of the board who was directing the show? Look, I don't want to go into the things of here, but two senior advisors in the Ministry of Finance came from the board there. I say no more. They were PNM 1%ers who are advisors to the Ministry of Finance right now.
well,
See,
people that become party in power, PIP,
yes,
jump ship
that is the point, Gary.
conveniently, right?
Conveniently,
So
conveniently.
I think we have a little more house cleaning to do, and
Plenty more,
that's going to take a
plenty
little
more.
time. But
Plenty more house cleaning. Because if you have a PNM ex-minister as the chairman of the board in Angostura, and Angostura is a flagship company in Trinidad, right? And you have him as the chairman, and he instructs the CEO to do something. And if that is not in the best interest of the island, of the economy of Trinidad, then what happens? You see, so we have a lot of cleaning up to do still. We do have. If you get Dr. Ramup, he'll tell you, he was a CEO as well, and he will tell you exactly what I'm telling you. Instructions come up from above. And you as a CEO, you have to implement those instructions based
well,
on your management team.
remember, we have that syndicated team there that dominates and dictates what is being done
Right,
from behind the
correct.
scenes, and that happens in every country, not in Trinidad. I mean, we have that
Not
here in the
only,
U.S.
yes, yeah. So how are you going to train Trinidad? You know, how are you going to change the system, guy? You have to get rid of these people. Anybody who's against UNC policy should never be there.
But
Because
listen to me. These business people play both sides of the fence. All right, and they will give to UNC. They will support the PNM, and they really are there for their own personal interest. They don't care who they're dead. They're about their business and how their business survive and how they dictate and manipulate the economy. Right. So no matter which government is in power, they're always going to try to manipulate things. And this is where the prime minister is showing them that she's not allowing them to dictate to she. No much threat and Galavan they do.
I hear you. I've been through it, but I
Correct.
can tell you,
Correct.
you know.
like I said, she told them it's not the same Kamala, and this is the kind of discussion I had with her in the sense that
and
different things.
she is doing a damn good job at
She's standing up.
She's
standing up.
she
And to
can.
tell you the
Excellent job.
truth, the level of
Excellent
disrespect,
job.
the level of disrespect she got for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
and even from people within the party.
And still taking it. And still taking it.
So this time, I'm encouraging her to go after all without mercy. We're not leaving any man standing.
That's my point. That's my point. Get rid, clean house, man. Clean house. I don't care where. Clean house. You can't. You see how long they allow all these other boards to be going through all the shit to even force them out?
Raping the country caused people. Look at it simple as the CPF thing, right? The bulk of the money went to who? Not to the people that they're trying to instigate the bark on the ground there. Those people didn't get no kind of real money.
No, it's the contractors. They got the millions.
Friends, family, and associates.
Yeah.
Even though
millions of dollars.
Absentee workers, all these ghost scams and what have you. Yeah, but I want to see these people got jail. I don't care. I want to see these people get jail, boy. You don't know. That will make me so happy. At least I will see, all our talks and so on have come into fruition when these people are jailed. Because if that doesn't happen, and it will only let itself down in future years, hey, this is what they did the last time, let them do it again. Nobody gets, jailed for anything, man. We just go along. Go and do the same bubbles all over, contracts with the signatures and blah, blah, blah.
And that's why we need to revamp the whole process.
All the system, that's what I keep on saying. All systems have to be revisited.
Correct.
And tightened up and make sure that there's legislation to punish people for non-deliverables, one thing,
Correct.
and also hold people accountable for their bad decision making. Unless you do these things, everybody takes the government for a ride. I will sit down on their board of directors. I collect my monthly salary and everything hunky-dory. You have to make people accountable, and you have to make the system punishable.
Well, we also have to see the results, eh?
This is what, but okay, Ken, I agree. Results is what counts. Tell me which profitable results have you seen over the past 10 years?
None. Nothing.
Yet they were taking money.
Only wastage.
And
only wastage.
But how come you were seeing, companies asked to fund Balize House? How come you've seen companies who were forced?
Let's hear something from Dr. Maraj on the financial part.
Come.
No, I just want to say one quick thing, because I noticed that you all stepping on some areas that I urge to be a little cautious. I know I saw the venom in Suman's I would say in his tone kind of a way. He wants to see a lot of people being taken off the street. I guess he meant white collar crime. But that's the question I had for Ken Ali. Whenever he comes on, I could tell you what the question was and what is it, why we ask such a question. It takes money to win an election, and the party has to be financed. And often the monies that I got from membership is not enough. And usually they turn to the business community who has the deep pockets and just some kind of payback. It is very glaring, the PNM case, as unlike the UNC that gets funding also, but their donors might be people who are in the shadows and who who never enjoy the fruit of this of the trade. And this is where the issue of I raised it a little bit earlier tonight when we talk about the foreign exchange being used to buy chewing gum, sweetie, and marble and snowball. And that is where the merchandising firms come in. And you all I think someone just mentioned that a PNM member sitting on the PNM board and also sitting on the Angostura board. those interlocking directorates I mentioned the last time, that's to look out that the PNM typical in that they pay back their people. I mean, you also mentioned that that the funds come to the PNM, through the government, they raise the funds and they pass it to the contractors. The contractors keep most in their pocket, employ some people here and they do what and have a good time, come up in Florida and have a good time and buy every weekend. And they have a good live of the fruits of the land and the poor people and they are rich and so on, and all these kinds of stories like that. They have a lot of truths to those kinds of things, but it takes money to run and win an election. And most of our people come from the contractors who were left out of the PNM, by the PNM. So those were the ones who actually support the UNC and opposition party, I should say, in the opposition to the PNM. So that's the question I would like to ask Ken Ali whenever he comes on. But you all are right on target, except that you've got to be careful when you're casting stones, because some of those people might be also in the port of the UNC, not in such a big way. But Gary said it. Gary said, look, they play the game on both sides, and that's how they do it. I mean, my brother was giving money to the PNM, also giving to the UNC. He gave a little more to the UNC because he's really a UNC, but he also gives some to the PNM as well. So that's how they play the game, and it's not really a game. It's a matter of investment. That's how we do it. That's how business is done in politics.
But
yeah, it's an investment.
After the last 10 years, is where we see how wicked the PNM was to the people. And to most of us, we have to really take into consideration what we're really doing when going forward. Like I said, the PNM, far as I'm concerned, cannot no longer be treated as an opponent. The PNM is a definite enemy because they have put the lives of many people, in danger. They are a direct threat to our public safety. Okay. If you could be a direct threat to my public safety, you're no longer an opponent, as far as I'm concerned.
They are an enemy to the state.
Who is that?
The PNM.
Oh,
when you deliver, when you have a record like 624 murders in 1 year, right? And a record just 2 years prior to that, 605. Right, in 2022, those are historical records, and lawlessness and violent crimes that we've never seen in the history of Trinidad and Tobago since we're going to gain independence. All of that.
So you have to couch this in a debate with telling people and which you all are doing anyway, telling people in Trinidad that look. There are those sympathizers. The reason why the PNM cannot have a handle on crime, because they're also deep in this business of crime. So if you have them there, it's expected it will be 600, and you put them back again, it will be another 600, and you put them, it will be 800 this time. So you really don't want them to go back there. Those who believe in peace and harmony and low crime and support victims and have zero tolerance for crime would be the one that does not support the PNM. So we have to draw the lines very clearly. Who is in favor of the criminals? Who is in favor of the victims? And why we had the stand your ground laws? Because we are in favor of the victims. And those kinds of arguments have to be hammered home every time you talk about, we pass this on the pass that, talk about what was the opposition doing about that, because they didn't vote for the law anyway. So that tells you where they stand. So that's 600 and something that Ken always mention. It's going to be 800 if they come back there.
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You made a good point there, Dr. Maraj. Right?
Yes.
The guy in Port of Spain, east or south or whatever. See that's there. The breadfruit guy, right?
Yes.
Samad, we always talk about this. He blatantly said that the law is going to affect
discriminate
against his constituency members, right?
Right.
Implying that
he was basically
there are a bunch of criminals
there. You understand? Basically telling
implying
you
that there are a bunch of criminals. Now that's him speaking for the members, right?
Yes.
At that level. So again, Dr. Maraj, it reiterates your point. It reinforces your point there, right?
Yeah.
The PNM is for crime, right? And that is,
Right.
and crime flourishes, and Suman would have the statistics to support that, right? And the
Mhm.
UNC are about law-abiding citizens and
Right.
upward mobility for all,
In
right?
addition, Ken,
Cutting out
if I may,
waste, right?
if
And
I may add,
increasing the quality. Yeah, go ahead, Suman.
if I may add,
I
remember,
mean, let's look at what Dr. Rowley did.
politics.
He removed every substantial thing that Kamala put in place to help the poor people get ahead. Right? This
No,
is no gimme government.
we have to
Is a gimme government
we
for
have
his
to
friends.
we have to keep on remembering one thing in Trinidad politics. We all want to see the UNC get another term, possibly 2 terms, or forever. One spark, as I keep on saying, the racial spark that the PNM uses every single election has brought them back for the next term. Every time it has worked for them. It has not worked for us as UNC, but it has always worked for the PNM. Especially when they are opposition, they make it so blatantly in your face kind of way.
But the children of those supporters, said they ain't taking that.
Correct.
Those children that benefited from what Kamala gave the laptop and the things that she put in place, and people must have remembered the baby grant,
and the milk grant, and the books and uniforms grant, and the laptops and so on. But when they play the race card, Gary, all that is
and the
healthcare,
the thing that she put in place for the life saving thing.
Children's Life Fund.
Children's Life Fund.
Yeah. But you see, when they play that race card before the election time, and they play, according to Dr. Maraj, they play the calypsos, and they start, over time, they try to. Is that a little spark, boy? They have always played that, and they have always won with that. Just this time they got fed up. People got fed up of this race card.
I want to reiterate, our level of service delivery is highly critical. And this is why I make such a big deal about places like Toko Sandy Grande and making so much an effort
Librarian Point
to make sure that we deliver exceptionally to the people, and not only because of elections, because I personally care about my people. They may not understand
That's right.
but
Gary, if I may say, we saw a landslip, and we spoke about it just maybe 2 days ago, and I've seen they already jumped on it. The Highways Division went down there, and they deliver a temporary solution, so that the residents would not get cut off from their community, right? So again, we've seen progress, we've seen action, right? And this is the level of service that we want to see. Something happen, bam, it gets taken care of, especially once it's critical.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think we post that video or something with the landslip that they went up and fixed. Ministry of Works has that video on their website. So again, we have to commend them, right? Jaylene John and her team, and the Prime Minister also an excellent job, right? And that is how we want to hit the ground running, delivering a high level of service, quality of life for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in a crime-free environment. And we're working towards that, and we're seeing the progress.
Take a look at it. And the new organized structure is been the upkeep structure has been all throughout the country. Some people are spreading rumor, she just doing work in South. There's only South people she giving work, right? So you see how critical it is. So
you see, again, that's the press. The press, they're pushing this narrative, and we need to counter them
But beside the press, that is the word on the ground among Afro-Chinese, because I got a call today.
And
You
Gary,
understand?
that is the spark I'm speaking about. They play that race thing, boy. They play all the theater, play that race
Sumar,
thing.
Philip Alexander went up to St. Francois Valley up in Mova,
Yes,
and
I saw that.
and
I saw that.
he said, look, we're here to clean. This place was neglected over the last 10 years. A forest growing inside the road, overgrown bushes, and also I said, yeah, I think he was with councillor, a fellow named Pudam or something like this, right? And he said, look, we're going to work with you and we're going to clean this whole place up. I'm going to call the minister now, and we're going to bring some fuel. We're going to get stuff, resources here, and we're going to beautify this place, right? So who's
Nice.
saying it's just South? That again, that is just PNM bias, right? To paint, to make the UNC look bad. But again,
Correct.
but just go and look at Philip Alexander's video, right? He said we're going to beautify this place, regardless of where it is, and it's UNC wins, everybody wins, and that is proof right there.
That's nice. But you see, near an election time when they say this bullshit, people tend to believe it, especially their supporters, that all the work is being done in South.
Well, you know,
That
Samad,
Kamala is
here's
giving
something.
out the laptops or
Right.
students
So,
of Pinal. This kind of thing, they go with this narrative.
well, you
They're
know,
always
this election proves something very important.
yes.
There's 100,000 people there who have a brain of their own, a mind of their own, and they could think on their own, and they have the power and information on their hands to act and make their decision.
So
right?
our goal
And-
is to keep that 100,000
And
in
we are
our
going to
side.
appeal to them.
That is
We're going to continue to give them the resources and engage with them, and no one left behind. Right?
this is
So that's
what they
100,000
see.
persons there, and we'll also ask our next 100,000 persons if they want to join, because this is a party for everyone, and it's upward mobility here, a better quality of life in a crime-free area where everybody's thriving, right? No one left behind.
And that is the challenge. That is the challenge the UNC faces, to make sure and get that 100,000 to stay with you. That forget all the race talk with PNM, the narrative they will push as they do every election time and say, look, they will bring up issues and board appointments, all these things they're going to bring up at that time.
And we
say,
will
oh,
have to debunk it, right? We have to
so
take
they
it
have
apart
to start that
and
process,
dismantle
that
it.
PR process from now on. That's what Mr. Maharaj was saying. You have to meet them head to head, and I have the same view. Head to
Well,
head.
I like how the Prime Minister dropped some statistics today, right?
Today,
On crime and the
yes.
drugs. A
But
quarter
you
of
see-
$1 billion in drugs intercepted in less than 24 hours. right?
Correct.
Those are the
But this-
numbers and the statistics we need.
You see, you need that to be on television, again, on press time, prime time news, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock news. Like they had, I think today was Irfan Ali was speaking throughout the Caribbean. All television stations had to be locked on to him. So some major announcements, something like that. So, like every Monday, every Thursday, every other week, like that, be in their face, get the news out to the people.
Well, again, maybe we should start to see a weekly address to the nation, just like how Trump came and addressed the nation, and the whole world is looking, right?
Yeah, on
So
different
maybe I would
issues.
suggest a weekly address to the nation, right?
Yeah,
and talk about the
weekly,
progress.
bi-weekly, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, whatever it is, but whenever
Oh, bi-weekly, bi-weekly.
major
Yeah, that could work
incidents
also.
happen, so the radar situation should never be an issue. So that, okay, we have national security, blah blah blah. This is our plan. End of story. Nobody could query. Let it pour into query. Let them query. Nobody has to reply to them anymore, because you give the justification why you're doing this. Okay, we've seen that by implementing the radar, or the radar being set up, we have seen a mass reduction in crime. End of story. So who wants to query that? Let them query it. So
That's right. That's
once
right.
you get the justification why you're doing things and the results showing that why you're giving these things. Hey, I implement the radar. I got concessions from the US to get duty-free access, so I can export all my ammonia and nutrient company down point. You can get duty-free access to US market. These are the things needs to be highlighted and impressed upon weekly. Everybody
Absolutely.
monthly, as it is. You have TTT, which is a government television station. Same old board is running that. The same old board on the PM is running that, right? And this is why I tell you, I know a couple of boards that are still having PNM infiltrators in there. What do you expect as far as you're going to implement things? No,
they're only going to slow down the process. They're only going to impede the process.
That is exactly what, and that is exactly the point why ministers are suffering in the public service. You have to sidestep.
That could be a make or break situation, eh?
Yes. Just now, Christmas coming, New Year's Carnival. But here, Winky Eye, Easter, a year done, you know. A year finished. Right?
Yeah.
Thank God she has implemented.
But in 8 months, we did a lot. There's a lot there.
Yes.
And there's data, there's statistics to support it. The results.
In come January, I understand ExxonMobil is going to explore deep sea offshore contracts of East Coast, Northeast Coast of Trinidad. So that's another positive thing happening there.
We are seeing the energy sector revitalization in the energy sector.
Yeah, the refinery,
right? And now,
in 3 years
with the stabilization and the geopolitical risk removed from Venezuela, I think that's even a big added plus.
Right. So there are positive things, but it has to be highlighted in your face all the time. Don't wait for the 5 years as they did the last time around. That was the biggest mistake they did. We have to learn lessons, from every election going forward.
Well, you have to build on the success.
Yes, right. I agree. Totally agree.
You have to build on the success. And continue to take that straight into the next year election and beyond. But again, the numbers, the proof has to be the numbers.
That's how we'll make sure and have at least 90,000 out of the 110,000 remain with you.
Well, no, we're looking at 100,000. We're looking at a 150 again or 200, right?
That's you should.
Set the bar high. Set the bar high.
Yeah.
So if we fail, we know we have achieved a lot in the process of trying to achieve the goal.
You still win.
So yeah.
Right. So if you still keep 90,000 or 80,000, you still win.
But we have to develop a plan and continue to revise and fine tune that plan so that we keep the 100,000+ and everyone is happy. And we move together as a country, and we show that the PNM is not worth coming back again for the next 5 years because of how they allow the country to decay over the last decade.
No, you got it. Now I can agree with you. That is the goal.
Yep.
That is the goal. You got to work hard to make sure we maintain, reduce the crimes, statistics, show some forex growth, show some business growth. Investors are coming in, tourists tourism is taking off and so on. These things have to happen with the numbers and the data. Unless these things, and I don't want to knock anybody, but I hear a couple of ministers, in 5 years' time, we want to do so and so and so. But hey, don't just talk. Show how. Then how are you going to do it? Tell me what is the plan, how are you going to do it? Not national security. Because national security, I don't have to tell you my plan. Look at the numbers and that you'll see my plan.
Let's look at the numbers.
But just, let's say you take an arbitrary ministry, works or agriculture or something, and say, we want to reduce food. Food imports will be down by 5 million, from 7 million to dropping it to 2 million. We want to save 5 billion, in food. But show me how you're going to do it. Tell me how much access roads. Tell me how much more acres you're going to bring into production. Tell me how you're going to incentivize farmers. Tell me these things so I can see, in year one,
we're going to tackle traffic congestion. We're going to tackle flooding.
Every single ministry.
We're going to recoup 200-300 acres of farmland that's submerged, and so forth.
More than thousands of acres.
We're going to stop importing. We're going to start increasing pilot projects to
tomato,
plant
man.
apple and all this sort of stuff. I saw someone selling apple trees there in
That's
Trinidad.
right.
Right?
Oh yeah,
All these new
plenty.
things to exploit
A
it,
lot
new
of
ideas.
My brother has my friend say a lot of grapes hanging.
Okay, take a picture and send it to us. We put it on the site here.
Yeah, I will take a photo.
No, to inspire people, you plant your own grapes. Yeah.
Yeah, man, the whole friends, his friends come to my friends too. A lot of bunches.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy to grow. That's one.
Well, look at
plant.
strawberries, man. We're growing strawberries in Florida. Why we can't grow strawberries in Trinidad?
People are starting to grow it here.
And stop importing it.
Look, in dragon fruit, right? In Publix, it was nearly it's Massey is importing that sell 2 dragon fruit for $103.
And that is easily grown.
That's
grown in
going
Trinidad.
to a neighbor down about half mile from me. She planted a whole lot of it, a whole lot of land in dragon fruit only. Now I see selling Davy in the main road $6 TT for one. It's cheaper here than in Florida.
Why we need to import that?
Why do we? Yeah.
Where we
and
could
all
grow
these
it.
things can grow.
Yeah,
all these things can grow.
Cut back on the food import bill.
Barbados grows
Save
all
foreign
their,
exchange.
Barbados grows all their onions and carrots and everything else, which they use in the hotel.
We could do the same thing.
Yeah, we can make our own jam and this and that. Same thing. We don't have to buy butter and all this kind of. Serve different foods and different style of things, man. But there are certain monopolies in Trinidad which are vestiges of the old regime. They still continue. Example, things like the cocoa and the coffee board and all these exporters and things. Still the French Creole. They have everything covered. You can't penetrate that gang at all. Drug importation, same damn thing. Monopolies there. These are the things we have to break and make sure everybody gets a piece of the action.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot have monopolies
absolutely
in that.
Correct.
Once you have monopolies, you're talking about a certain
price gouging. Talking about price gouging and stuff there.
Yeah, certain few people benefit, whereas you want the mass of people to benefit, not a certain few.
You couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, it's late for me now, 12:45.
Yeah.
I got to call it today.
Yeah. Gary, you there?
I don't know, Gary. Gary knows off or
No. I'm just kind of gonna get some tea here. Okay, guys.
right.
So we could pretty much if you
Wrap
decide,
up here, man.
tomorrow if we want to do anything, we'll see what's happening.
Definitely. Well, if
All right.
anything happens in Venezuela, we'll have to
we need
run
to,
something.
We need to keep on addressing the issues as they come by. So let's see what they
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tomorrow might be the last cabinet meeting, maybe because Kamala said go and hang up tree curtains and make she fruit cake and thing.
Yeah. So, but we will watch. We will watch what's happening in the country and comment, on it, and address it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
So, I mean,
definitely.
our team definitely will stay fully engaged, no matter who is doing what.
And we'll have to
Right.
continue to
We
highlight
can
the
probably
performance.
take a break for the Christmas. Yeah.
Take a break for the
We
Christmas.
can take a break for the Christmas.
We'll play some music
Yeah,
for
a
the
little
Christmas
bit
and
for the
the
Christmas.
program here. All right.
Yeah,
then.
but you're playing none of
guys.
my music. Daisy was on.
Well,
Daisy
you gotta
was
tell
in
me
here playing
something.
none of Ship Around.
Who it is?
That geographic discrimination against the people of Superior.
I didn't play none of
I
music.
can't
So
say so. I hear you're still playing Michael. She's from right up the road here. She's from Abukat.
who's that?
Molly
Ramraj?
Michael, the lady who's the girl.
That one?
No, this one is Ramaji, but Molly Michael sing the Santa, bust up shut and all this thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I had to find
She
it.
saw
As long
my-
as I get the video, I could. If you see it, just send it to me.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
and her cousin, both of them provides about it right there.
Yeah. Well, going towards the season, we're gonna get more. How to say?
Yeah,
More
man, let's
ceremonial.
music and relax next week something.
Yeah.
Well, all
But
right, guys.
once there's news, we can shoots.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
what happens is if there's something happening, we will address it.
Yeah. We'll jump on it.
We're not waiting for the party to address certain things. We will address certain things.
Yeah.
All right.
The party government can't hear the civil government. Good night,
Okay, Gary. Have a good night. Take care.
All right then.
Bye.
Follow DJ Anna's moves.
Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night.